Hi everyone, Jamie Madison here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So we are going to be doing some cards today using the Purple Onion Designs Happy Pumpkins. To get started on this card, I'm going to bring out that red rubber clinging stamp that does not have the cling back on it, but I'm just going to use some double-sided foam tape. I will err on caution. Do not leave your double-sided foam tape on your stamping platform for a very long time. I left mine on overnight, and the next morning I could barely get it off. It took me over an hour to get that foam tape off of my stamping platform. So if you're going to use it, take it off immediately when you're finished. I went ahead and stamped these happy pumpkins using my Gina K amalgam ink. I stamped them about 3 to 4 times just to get a really nice dark impression. And then I went in with my Copics. For my Copic coloring, I will put all of the colors in your left-hand side of your screen. I also stamped these on Bristol Smooth cardstock paper. I know it's a give and take on this paper. Some people like coloring on it, some people don't. So just use whatever paper that you like coloring with. You can also do these pumpkins with some watercoloring. I did one pumpkin with watercoloring, and then I did the rest of them with the Copics. It was just a lot easier for me to Copic color them. So I'm going to go ahead and place some music in and let you enjoy the coloring, and I will be back. Alrighty, so now that we're pretty much finished with our Copic coloring, I will say that I did not color that star, and I'm going to cut that star out as well as cut the pumpkins out, so you won't be seeing that star. Going in with our ink blending backgrounds, sometimes I leave these out of my videos. I know a couple of you wanted to see how I do my background, so I left it in this video for you guys. I'm going to go in with my Distress Oxides for this panel, and I'm going to be using my Bristol Smooth cardstock paper. You definitely want to use Bristol Smooth paper when you're using oxides or inks. It blends flawlessly for you. It's not going to pull and drag whenever you're trying to blend, and you will get such a better outcome when you use the Bristol Smooth. I'm going in with my broken china, my cracked pistachio, and my fossilized amber. I'm going to just start working these in together, and you don't have to be precise with this. You just kind of want to see all three colors and not see really too many harsh lines. And then I'm going to go in with my black soot. I'm going to focus this on the outside of my panel. Don't worry about being too sloppy because it's going to be okay. Just try to focus most of your color on the outside, and then we're going to work it towards the center. This is going to give us a more faded look, and it's going to make it almost seem like the sun's setting or it's rising and we have some bats flying out. So I'm just going to blend that ink. Be careful with your yellow. If you get too much of that black soot on that yellow, it will start turning green. So just err on caution when it comes to that yellow. I'm going to pull those three colors back out and go back in with my fossilized amber and just brighten it up again. Same with my cracked pistachio and my broken china. After we have these all blended, we're going to just go back in with the black soot and just start blending out the edges and just make sure we have like kind of a flawless blend. It doesn't have to be perfect though. We are going to put a stencil over this. The stencil I am using is by Newton's Nook, and this is called Flying Bats. And then I'm just going to set that on top of my background and just blend that black soot in. You don't have to be perfect. I wasn't paying attention to where the bats ended, where they began. I just kind of just blended them all together and then pulled it, and it was just perfect. I just love the way this looks. Moving on to our sentiments, I'm using the hand-lettered Halloween. This is by Simon Says Stamp, and this was from the 2018 Stamp Timber release from last year. I did prep my paper. I know I didn't show it, but I did prep it with some anti-static powder. And I'm using my Versamark to stamp down the sentiments. The sentiments I picked out was Trick or Treat and Happy Halloween. I'm going to be using some white embossing powder by Recollections or Recollections, however you say it. Somehow I manage to say it wrong every time. And then I'm going to just set this with my heat tool and make sure it's smooth and melted. You can double stamp this if you want. I decided not to. It turned out good the first time. I'm going to be using those coordinating dies that come with these sentiments, and I'm going to run that through my die cutting machine and cut those out so they will be ready for my card. Then we're going to start putting everything together. So now that we have all of our sentiments cut out, I'm just going to put all of our images and our backgrounds so we can start putting these together. So for my images, I'm going to be taking my micron pen. This is in 05, and I'm going to highlight their eyes and their noses just to kind of bring a little bit more darkness from our Copic Coloring. And then I'm going to go in with my white Jelly Roll pen, and I'm just going to add some highlights on the top of the pumpkins. You don't have to do this step, but it kind of just brings a little extra to your images. And I don't think my highlights make any rhyme or sense. It's just kind of where I thought I needed some extra love put on these pumpkins. For my background, I went ahead and got ahead of myself and already adhered them to my base. And then I decided I needed some shadow under my pumpkins. So I brought out my Tombow markers and added some shadows to where my pumpkins were going to be sitting. And then I'm taking my sponge from my black soot and I'm just going to kind of run that back and forth to kind of blur out those lines so it's not so harsh, but you still kind of see the darkness from where that Tombow marker was. Then I'm going to go ahead and remove my tape so my card is still nice and white. I popped these pumpkins up with some double foam tape, and then I'm using some Tombow because these stems were so small and skinny. There was no way I could use foam tape. There's just no way. So I just glued them down. I didn't want them getting pulled in the mail or anything like that, so I just glued them down. And they turned out great. I'm then going to take my sentiments that I cut out earlier, and I'm going to use some Tombow because this glue is really strong. This glue works great. And I'm just going to put those up in the right hand corner of my cards. And then to decorate because you know me, we gotta have some sparkle in here. I'm going to go in with my sequins. These sequins are still my all-time favorite. These are by Studio Katia, and they're called Crystal Clear Confetti, and they are like little mirrors of confetti. They're just gorgeous. And for the glue, I'm using some multi-medium matte in a little squirt bottle and adhering those down on my card. So the orange one I did watercolor, and the other two, the pink and the blue, I used my Copics. So you can use whatever kind of medium you want to do these. Alrighty, and that finishes everything up. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see you guys next week with another fun video. Thanks again. Have a great day. Bye!